So I don't want to bury the lead at this moment in time. There is a suspect that the FBI has released images of, two specific surveillance images. I will put them up on screen right now for you guys out there in the audience. And it is believed at this moment in time that this is the person that the FBI thinks actually assassinated Charlie Kirk. Now, of course, there is reporting that they have like high quality or high definition surveillance video of this individual with something that would indicate more so than these particular photos. We don't have that at this moment in time. It has yet to be released. So yeah, if you guys have seen this individual, if you know who this is, if you can ID this person, contact the FBI immediately, because obviously we need this person to be caught. And I'm hoping that this person is caught alive so that they could stand trial, so that they can face justice, because in reality, we need that for this kind of situation right here. I don't want it to be a situation where we have to pour through the social medias in order to find out a motive for this particular individual. And on that note, we also have some reporting that originated from Steven Crowder, but appears to be confirmed by other media sources, that we do have a possible motive for this particular shooting. Apparently, on this person's gun and on the magazines that were with the dumped gun, we have indications that this person was writing anti-fascist stuff and or pro-trans stuff, or Trantifa stuff, if you will. And obviously, Charlie Kirk has made himself an enemy of Antifa. He made himself an enemy of these trans activists. So yeah, this obviously seems like it's a possible motivation. Not to mention the fact that at the time that Mr. Kirk was killed by this individual, he was answering a question specifically that was leading into a mass shooting question related to the transes. In fact, his last words were a clarification of a question, as Kirk often does because he's trying to debate and get to the truth of the matter. When he was asked about who does the most mass shootings, Kirk responded with, "Are you including gang shootings in that?" Because obviously the answer is going to be different when we talk about, mass shootings that don't get any attention because they're perpetuated by black people versus what is covered by the national news media with such fervor. So yeah, right now, if you know who this person is, if you have any idea who this person is, please contact the FBI, please contact authorities. You should consider this person extremely dangerous due to the fact that they've already killed somebody, according to the police. This is the person. I know we had two other people detained, but right now it seems like this is the guy. So contact the FBI immediately. Contact your local police immediately. Do not engage. And again, let us all hope that this person is captured alive so that they could stand trial, so that they can face the ultimate consequences of our justice system, because Utah is a death penalty state. And of course, the federal government could press charges based on the political nature of this assassination, because it qualifies as terrorism, that also face similar consequences. Now, I also think that it's important for you guys to understand that huge swaths of the left online will support this individual. They will raise money for this individual. They are already cheering this individual across the internet, and we've seen disgusting video after disgusting tweet after disgusting take all over the left-wing media, whether it be online media or even mainstream media. Again, there's clips from an MSNBC segment that are absolutely disturbing, disgusting, and pitiful. They're already blaming Charlie Kirk for his own assassination. They're already talking about how the real issue is that the right may theoretically respond violently to this assassination, and if we start to get in a situation where political figures are targeted for violence, then things could potentially get out of hand in the future, as if it's not already out of hand, as if Charlie Kirk was not already a political figure that was just assassinated, as if there weren't two separate assassination attempts on President Trump, as if we're not already there. Now look, at some point in time in the future, I may make a video documenting all these different terrible takes, but honestly, there's so many of them, they're still coming in incredibly fast, and I was incredibly disappointed to see that even on my own personal private social media pages, that some individuals that I knew personally in my real life are commenting on how this is karma for Mr. Kirk and all sorts of other awful, evil, disgusting things. But right now, I'm more focused on this person getting caught. I'm more focused on this person getting captured, because we need to bring this person to justice. In addition to that, like I said in my previous video, while it seems pretty obvious what the motivations are, while the recent indications of what was carved into the magazines and into this guy's weapons seem to indicate that obviously it was from a left-wing perspective, specifically targeting Charlie Kirk for alleged fascism, which again, the absurdity of shooting somebody who was under a banner that said, hey, come and talk to me, prove me wrong in order to stop fascism, is obviously not lost upon me. While obviously there are the transes indications on these particular magazines, I do still say that we should reserve judgment, at least in part, until we actually have a positive ID on this person, because it's not like it's unusual for people to, try to throw you off, try to change up what their motivation is as a mechanism in order to, create chaos in the country. So yeah, we leave that possibility open. And again, one of the only reasons I say that is because from my experience as somebody on this side of the camera, very often, while you do get threats from your enemies, while you do get targeted from your enemies, there are certain situations where people who like you or people who love you or people who are on board with your cause end up doing far more harm and seem far more dangerous than those that are opposed to you. So I just want to put that out there, that is a possibility. However, as of right now, it seems like an overwhelming chance that this person was clearly and obviously anti-Charlie Kirk, pro-transes, pro-Antifa, and all the things that we expected when we found out that the prominent founder of Turning Point USA was assassinated live at an event before our very eyes. Now, of course, I'm not going to show you the video. I'm not going to link to the video. This is not about glorifying that or anything of the sort. The fact is, I find it repulsive. I got out the little bit of words that I could get out in the previous video that I did without, kind of losing it. And the reason for that is not because I knew Charlie Kirk personally. Again, I met him in passing a couple of times. The only time I had any kind of a real conversation with him is when I first met him back in 2018. And I do want to regale you a little bit with the story of that because I think it speaks to his character. And I've talked about this before, but it's a little bit more relevant now. So I got invited to an event that took place in West Palm Beach, Florida. It was actually at a hotel on the same island as Mar-a-Lago. Charlie Kirk was attending that event. And one of the things that I thought was quite notable, because Charlie was pretty famous at that moment in time, pretty notable figure, is that Charlie stayed in that room after he did his whole speech, after he did his whole shtick, in order to meet each and every person that was in attendance, in order to give them time, because he actually did care about the people that supported him and supported conservative causes. Because make no mistake about it, this event wasn't even a Turning Point USA event. It was a different organization's event, but he still stayed to meet each and every person. And when I first saw Charlie Kirk, I remember shaking his hand and then looking up, because Charlie Kirk was like 6'4", and I looked at his face and I'm like, holy crap, you're Charlie Kirk. And then I proceeded to bust his balls for being way too tall, and of course for being a young guy that was way too into politics, kind of playing him for being a little bit dorky, a little bit nerdy and whatnot. And even though I was ribbing him just a little bit and I had just met him, and normally people would take that as unusual or off-putting, which, let's be honest, I can be both of those things, Charlie Kirk still took a picture with me. Like, he still was very polite, very courteous. He didn't get angry at all whatsoever, because he understood that I was just having fun with him. And again, he cared about meeting each and every person in that room. And at that moment in time, back in 2018, I think I had something like 12,000 subscribers. So this was not a situation where he knew who I was or thought I was a prominent figure or anything of the sort. For all he knew, I was a random guy that was at this event, that was invited just like he was, that was making fun of him for no discernible reason. And he still was polite, he still was courteous, and a bunch of different people who met him once or knew him very well are stating that exact same thing. Now, of course, after I put out my previous video on Mr. Kirk's assassination, I ended up tweeting something because I felt it at that moment, and I'd like to reiterate the sentiment that I tweeted related to that. And that is, of course, that I'm angry. Every time I go on social media, I get angrier, I get upset, I go through the whole emotional cycle. But yeah, I'm in that mode where I'm refreshing my page and getting more and more pissed off every time I see one of these monsters denigrate him, attack him, cheer on his death, and all of that stuff. But one of the things that I think about is the man that we're concerned about, is the family that we're concerned about, and that, of course, is Charlie Kirk and his family. And everything that his public life has demonstrated to us shows us that Charlie Kirk would have called out all of these people for the evil that they are. He would have called called out all of their nasty tactics, all of the disgusting things that they were saying, and he would have held them to account in the battlefield of ideas, because that was Charlie Kirk's arena. That was Charlie Kirk's home. That was his style, and he would have done so on his terms, not theirs. Now, there are legitimately people that knew Charlie Kirk that were upset about what went down, that are obviously expressing a lot of anger on social media, and I do not begrudge them for doing so, because a lot of them knew Charlie Kirk way better than me, who again met him once where I got a chance to talk to him and only saw him in passing at different various events. That being said, there are also a bunch of people who are just foreign agents that are trying to stoke up tension, trying to push people into action, and the last thing we need is more violence, more leftist tactics, more nonsense like that. We don't need vengeance against random left-wing individuals. We need justice for Charlie Kirk. We need consequences for this killer, for this monster, and of course, we are going to name and shame each and every one of these individuals that has been cheering on Charlie Kirk's assassination, been supporting the killer, and we're going to fight back against them going forward, but we're going to do it the proper way, or we should do it the proper way, and that's what I'm going to promote going forward on this particular channel. Now look, I said it in my previous video, and I'm doubling down on it today, even though I'm way more angry today than I was before, which is, if you want to honor Charlie Kirk, then honor his wife. Honor his kids, send them kind words. He has family, he has friends, he has people that care about him dearly. We're seeing all these different various posts on social media of all these positive stories, of all the joy that Charlie brought into all these people's lives, and we should honor that and respect the people that loved him and care for them in the way that Charlie no longer can. But in addition to that, we should also be harping on this particular shooter. We should be going after him and making sure that this individual, until he gets caught, lives under the fear, lives under the absolute shame of what he did, and knows that he will eventually be caught, he will eventually be tried in public, and yes, he will pay the ultimate price. No plea deals for him, no nothing, guilty, death penalty. That's where we need to be at, and if we can't get it at the Utah level, then we pursue it at the federal level. We demand justice for Charlie Kirk, justice for Charlie Kirk and his family and his friends, his wife and his kids, because that's what is deserved. That is what is due to us. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like the video, do the whole liking thing, subscribe, follow social medias, whatever. Forget all of that. What you need to do is share the images of the suspect so we can get caught, and hopefully the next time I'm reporting on this particular story, he is captured or, somewhat encountered by law enforcement. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Till next time.